Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. For the past 2 years now, elections to the country's richest civil body, the Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporation, or the BMC, have been on hold. And in their absence, a favoritism has emerged that is putting MLAs of the opposition parties at a significant disadvantage. To know how this is happening, it's important for us to note that the last civic elections had taken place in 2017, and since the BMC's elected general body is supposed to only last for 5 years, it got over in March 2022. Now, when talking about the reason why the polls are on hold, the ruling NDA coalition has been citing the petitions pending before the Supreme Court, which are related to the issue of providing OBC quotas in the civic bodies. But the matter goes even beyond that. Earlier, the BMC polls had been delayed by the previous Uddhav Thackeray-led MVA government's move for the delimitation exercise in the civic body. In fact, this is what had led the MVA government, a coalition between the Thackeray Shiv Sena, Congress and NCP, to impose an administrator's rule in the BMC.
And not just in the BMC, in all the urban local bodies in the state are under an state-appointed administrator.
That's Indian Express's Pratip Acharya, who reports on Mumbai for the paper.
So, a state-appointed administrator is basically a bureaucrat in the post of the municipal commissioner who heads the civic body, is being given the charge to operate as an administrator and run the show.
And this is a problem because municipal councillors or corporators are supposed to be a bridge between the administration and the common people.
So basically, they are the people's go-to person. Like whenever there is a solid waste management problem, or whenever there is a water supply issue, or whenever there is a issue pertaining to the road conditions in Mumbai, people approach the corporators. And then the corporators get this problem solved by getting the civic body, by roping in the civic body, by approaching the local ward offices and getting these things done. So basically, the municipal councillors act as the bridge between the citizens and the whole administrative arm of the BMC.
And the issue is that there are no elected councillors at the moment, since, like we mentioned, there have been no elections for the past 2 years. So it is for this reason the state government has adopted an alternative system in the meantime, in which crores of funds for development or civic work are being given to MLAs, which is something that has never happened before.
Because usually the political body, which is the general body, the head of the general body is a mayor in a municipality. So basically, this is the first time that usually the fund is being dispersed to these councillors. And in Mumbai, there are 227 councillors. So each councillor would get a fund of 1.6 crores every year. And with this fund, they would do all this kind of development works and all that is required. So this is the first time and MLAs are getting funds from the BMC's coffers. So the BMC in 2023, 16 February, which is last year, had passed a resolution saying that since there is no body of elected representative available in Mumbai, and there is a lot of demand of civic infrastructure, what's coming from the people, coming from the elected former municipal councillors. So we have earmarked a fund of 1260 crores, which will be distributed among the 36 MLAs in Mumbai, and each MLA will be eligible to draw a maximum of 35 crores.
Now, Pratip recently filed an RTI to find out who was actually receiving these funds. And turns out, only MLAs of the ruling government, 21 of them in total, have been able to receive these funds. In this episode, we talk about what Pratip's investigation reveals and the concerns it raises for those living in Mumbai. Pratip, to understand the revelations of this investigation, it's important for us to understand how the system works. So could you talk a bit more about the procedure of how these funds are received by MLAs?
Yes. So, like I was saying, I mean, the BMC in February 16 last year had made this resolution saying that since now we are getting a lot of requests for civic infrastructure works, now we have made a corpus of 1260 crores available for the civic works, which will be routed to the MLAs, which will be distributed to all the 36 MLAs. And this 1260 crore is almost 2.5% of the civic budget that was announced last year. So the process through which the BMC said that it will distribute funds is every MLA will have to write to the Guardian Minister of Mumbai. So in Mumbai there are two Guardian Ministers and each MLA will have to write to the respective Guardian Minister. So if a MLA is from the Mumbai Suburban, he will have to write to the Guardian Minister of Mumbai Suburbs, which is Bangal Prabhat Lodha from BJP. And if an MLA is from the island city of Mumbai, then they will have to write to the Guardian Minister of Mumbai City, which is Deepak Kesarkar from the Shiv Sena.
So both these guardian ministers are from the ruling government.
Yes. So the BMC's rules also say that once an MLA writes to one of these guardian ministers seeking the funds, the guardian minister is supposed to recommend the requirement of the fund to the municipal commissioner or the BMC. And then only the civic body, which is the BMC, they will be able to disburse the funds to this MLAs. So basically the BMC cannot directly allocate the fund. So if I am an MLA, I'll have to write to the guardian minister, and only after he recommends my application and forwards it to the BMC commissioner, then only my proposal of funds will be accepted. So this is the whole mechanism through which all the money was being distributed to the MLAs.
Right, and tell us, what do the documents accessed by you reveal about these funds and who all have been receiving them, especially considering that both these guardian ministers are from the ruling government?
Yeah, so there were total 722 pages. So by going through all the 722 pages, we saw that the 21 MLAs who have got the money were from the ruling party. So all the 21 MLAs, 15 from BJP and 6 from the Shiv Sena, all these 21 MLAs have received funding from the BMC.
And do these documents reveal anything about the opposition MLAs receiving any funds?
Yeah, so in the documents, there is no record that anybody has got any money from the opposition. So basically, we pulled out all these 720 pages through RTI applications. And the RTI applications, we filed it asking that the fund that has been disbursed. So if anybody's fund is not being given, then that letter or those proposals are not being taken into BMC's official record. So all the available documents that we had, it shows that the money has been given to only the ruling party.
And Pratip, could you also just talk about what all these funds are meant to be used for?
So these funds were supposed to be used for basic civic works, which includes, solid waste management problems, road works, sewage works. The basic amenities that affect the life of common people. Beautification, landscaping works, upgrading the gardens, open spaces in the city and suburbs, repairing roads, filling potholes, repairing manholes, all these things.
Right, so the MLAs from the ruling government could access these funds for all these things, but opposition MLAs haven't been able to do that because, according to the documents, they have not received these funds.
Yes, you are right.
But also, Pratip, the documents not having the opposition MLAs' requests could technically also mean that they may not have asked for funds, right?
It could be possible. MLAs might think that we are from different political allegiance, and why should I write to a minister seeking funds when the thing is supposed to happen from the civic body, which is the administrative arm of the government.
Right. So tell us what happened when you reached out to all the opposition MLAs, all 15 of them.
We reached out to all these opposition MLAs and we found out that all of them, most of them, out of the 15 MLAs of Mumbai, 11 of them had written letters and not a single one of them have received any money from the BMC.
And did they receive a reason why that is not happening? Why they are not receiving these funds?
No, they had written to the guardian ministers and according to the BMC, their letter did not reach them. That is why their letters are not in the BMC's record. So unless and until their letters reach the BMC, they can't disburse the funds. And we have received copies from opposition leaders, from all those opposition who had written to the BMC that they had sent the letters seeking funds. And those were received letters with a stamp.
And Pratip, besides the BMC funds, the documents also reveal details about the corporation's contingency fund. tell us the extent to which this problem was reflected there.
Yeah, so the issue of contingency funds we have done in the second part of our investigation. So while going through the 722 pages, like also let me, before we go into this, let me first tell you that as I said in the beginning of this podcast, that Mumbai is without any elected municipal corporators or municipal councillors since 2022, which means all the 227 wards of these municipal councillors are currently vacant, and all the municipal councillors are now former municipal councillors, so they don't have the legal right to get the funds for their wards, right? So we have seen that while going through this again 722 pages, we have seen that in Mumbai, out of this 227, as many as 31 municipal councillor wards have received funding from the BMC of 5 crores each. So while going through the documents, we had find out that out of this 31 wards, 30 was belong to the people like former municipal corporators who recently switched from opposition parties to the Shiv Sena that is being led by Eknath Shinde, Chief Minister, while one person was from the one of the ruling parties, BJP. Yeah.
So just to clarify, 31 wards have received funding, and out of these, 30 have been where corporators have shifted from the opposition to the ruling government. What happened to those who have not shifted, who have stayed with the opposition?
No, their wards did not get any funding. I mean, we have seen cases. I mean, for example, I would like to give an example. For example, in the case of Ravi Raja, who is the former Congress corporator, he had written to the municipal commissioner, he had written to the guardian minister seeking funds for his ward, around 5 crore. He did not get any funding. While another person from his neighboring ward, from the old Shiv Sena, he jumped to the new Shiv Sena, and within a fortnight, his ward got a funding of 5 crore.
Okay, so in a sense, the documents reveal that you'll be rewarded as a corporator, not at a personal level, but just that you'll be able to access these funds if you switch to the ruling side. Because if you have not switched, then it seems you won't be able to get these funds.
In a way, yes, because it clearly shows a kind of favoritism, because out of the 227 wards in Mumbai, only 31 have received funding, and the remaining 196 has not received any funding. And while going through these documents during our course of investigation, we have also found a pattern that is reflected in all the 30 cases. Because as I said, 30 out of this 31 are former corporators who have switched sides, while one was from the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP. So the pattern in these 30 cases is all the same, because we have seen, like for example, a corporator X, he was from one of the opposition parties, be it Congress, be it Nationalist Congress Party, NCP, be it Samajwadi Party, and he goes forward and joins the Shiv Sena that is being led by Chief Minister Shinde. And within a fortnight or within days or within not later than a month, the local ward office from which that former corporator belongs to puts up a proposal for the civic to the municipal commissioner, asking him that for carrying out civic works and infrastructure work, we need 5 crore for this particular ward. And that get immediately sanctioned in the very next day. And after that, the money is being routed. So this is the whole pattern we have seen in all the 30 of the 31 cases.
And Pratip, could you talk about what prompted you to file this RTI in the first place?
I mean, we did have a hunch about it. I mean, we did know that there is something wrong, because obviously, I mean, this process was very well designed. I mean, before all this, suddenly from last year, we have the 2 guardian ministers were allotted offices in the BMC. And this was also the first time in the BMC's history. It is more than a century. So it's more than 135-year-old history that MLAs were being given offices inside the headquarters. Then we have seen like people from the former corporators from the BJP were coming and sitting in those offices, interacting with the people. And then we saw like how the civic administration had placed civic officers inside that office, acting as liaison officers. So this whole process was there. But basically we were curious to see, since now there is no elected body and there is no mayor, what is happening with these ward funds? What is happening in these wards? How are these civic works being funded? Because in every municipal ward, everybody is complaining that there is no civic infrastructure, their roads are not being repaired, the sewage connections are in a doldrum. So we wanted to understand what is the status, like what is happening with all this money? And 1.6 crore into 227 corporates is a lot of money. So that is keeping this in mind. We filed an RTI seeking all this document. And obviously we were not given the document and we had taken to appeal. And then we had to appeal and then we received the documents.
Oh, so when you initially applied, you weren't given the documents. Was there any reason behind that?
I mean, no reason given behind it. I mean, usually when you file an RTI, if a government department has the document, they can't reject giving it to you. They will tell you processes, they will tell you ways to go through it and to not go through it. They will try to ghumao you. But in this case, I was told to collect these documents from all the 24 municipal wards. But then again, I had to go for an appeal. Then we got the documents.
And Pratip, since this investigation came out, talk about the kind of reactions we have seen from the opposition leaders in the state.
Opposition MLAs have taken this up very aggressively. We can see that the several, for example, Varsha Gaikwad, for example, she had taken a press conference on this the very next day.
हा पैसा जो आहे हा काही राज्य सरकारचा नाहीये. या पैसा म्हणजे सत्तेला वापर करण्यासाठी नाहीये. हा मुंबईकरांच्या कष्टाचा पैसा आहे. मुंबईकरांच्या घामाच्या माध्यमातून टॅक्स मधून झालेला निर्माण झालेला हा पैसा आहे.
Then the NCP has taken this quite aggressively. The UBT of the Shiv Sena, they have also taken it up quite aggressively. I mean, the opposition parties have taken it up very aggressively, going into news debates in the television shows, holding press conferences, calling the government out. That is the reaction that we have seen from the opposition parties.
And has the ruling government said anything so far?
No, since the investigation came out, the ruling party has not made any comment as of now. I mean, till we are speaking, they have given no reaction to it. Even for one of our follow-up stories, I reached out to Guardian Minister just yesterday, Mangal Prabhat Lodha, and he said that I do not want to comment on this. And while we are doing the investigation, while all our investigation was complete, and when we are on the final stage of publishing, we reached out to the Guardian Minister, same Mr. Lodha, when he told us that I don't have any pending letter left in me and we are disbursing fund to everybody, be it the ruling, be it the opposition. We are doing the distribution in a liberal manner. That was his comment to me, and I reached with him just yesterday for a comment which was a follow-up related to these two stories. Then he told me that I don't want to comment.
And Pratip, finally talk about the concerns this raises for the citizens of Mumbai, because if you are living in an opposition MLA's area, it seems that you could be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, it is a sort of discrimination. I mean, the basic concern for the people should be that if you don't elect an MLA or your public representative from the ruling side of the government or from the ruling party, it's quite possible that your constituency or the area where you live in will not get the facilities that other areas with ruling MLAs will get. So, this is what it shows. I mean, this is what the concern people should have.
You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava, and was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.